Bienvenue, patrons of the Nothing Venture Nothing Game to podcast. Tonight, I, Zach, will be your keeper of sanity as we delve into the madness in our game of modern-day Call of Cthulhu. Before we introduce our intrepid and unlucky investigators of this maniacal mystery, I would just like to note that during this series, things will get dark and gruesome. So if you're not a fan of that, there's no shame in turning these episodes off, watching something fun and lighthearted instead. Still here? Good. So if you're ready, then let's begin this series of unfortunate events. Joining me tonight for the continuation of our story is Tafy.
This is Tafy, and I am playing Danielle Warber, therapist who is just trying to get back to normal life.
When last we left our investigators, it was a new year and the horror of the night at the hospital seemed like a far-off memory. Nikki and Danielle attended a gala held at the hospital to thank the benefactors that helped them throughout the year, while across the city, the newly elected President of the United States was to be meeting with several city officials and then giving a speech to the hundreds, if not thousands, of peaceful gatherers. Here, Remy and Mike were stationed in case things went south, and Hank showed up delivering some more elite individuals to the event. As the evening continued at the gala, the CEO of Revelations Incorporated, Mr. Lucius Hope, gave an interesting speech. Simultaneously, a riot had just broken out at the Peace March, forcing all high-priority figures to escape along with all of the bystanders as police and civilians collided. It was here that Remy witnessed the one wreathed in yellow yet again, their hounds barking as tear gas filled the area, and he did his best to stave off the fear. Back at the hospital, Danielle had just been informed that a patient of hers had an accident, wherein upon investigation, she found a bloody and gruesome scene before her. And we pick this up there, Danielle. You wake up in a cold sweat. You're in your bed. It's early in the morning, roughly 4:30.
I pull the blanket back over my head. 5 more minutes.
Please roll me I'm gonna need 2 rolls from you, actually. First a power roll, and then a intelligence roll.
What dice am I rolling?
D percentile, so D100.
Okay, that was a 75. And my intelligence is 90. And then I'll do one for power. And that is 83. And my power is 43.
Okay. So, you succeeded on your intelligence check, which grants you the following. You understand that everything that you thought you witnessed in person was a dream. The gala at the hospital, the speech, your friend Calvin Harris there to just enjoy the festivities, and even the patient that, well, you realize it was a dream. And that would be obvious because why would the hospital, which has been pretty much locked down for the last year save for people who work there, invite people from outside to a party, essentially, inside the hospital? That sounds silly and reckless. With your power roll, the image that you saw is burned into your eyes as you try to hide under the blankets. The image of your patient just not eviscerated. Eviscerated isn't the right word, but scratched beyond all belief, bleeding. The symbol that was so roughly carved into John Henry's forehead, etched into her body as well, as blood splattered the walls and everything. It's hard to not remember that. It's like you're waking up from a terrible, terrible nightmare. For this, what's your sanity at right now?
My sanity is at 45.
Okay. You're going to take a d6 of sanity damage.
Let's do math right. Let's pull out that calculator. Okay. Got it.
So, it is 4:30 in the morning. It is up to you if you would like to get up, start your day, or continue on. Try go back to sleep.
I get up and I pull out one of my many notepads, and I write to analyze my patients, I kind of do the same process with myself and the images that I have been seeing and write down the details of everything that has happened.
Mm-hmm.
And also kind of do the drawing of the marks that I have been seeing on my patients as well.
Awesome. Do me a favor, roll. You have psychology and psychoanalysis, or do you have one and not the other?
See what I have here. It looks like I have both.
Okay. I want you to give me a combined roll, which means you're rolling 1d100 and you're telling me if it passes or fails, one, none, or both.
Okay.
All right. And this is just a standard success.
It is a 9, and then it is lower than both of my numbers.
Nice. A 9. That's really good. With good psychology and psychoanalysis roll, yes, essentially this process is actually helping. It has worked in the past for you with patients. There's no reason why it hasn't been working for you so far. You start to feel nauseous as you start drawing out the symbols that you saw on the body itself. And, you remember specifically the spirograph of looking design on the top of, on their forehead, which mimicked John Henry as well. And from here, it starts to get, this is where the nausea starts kicking in. There's different symbols on top of that. You see, etching it down, the images are clear in your head. As soon as you put your pen or pencil to the paper, it's instantly coming out. You have to think about what the symbol shape is. It's an array of, it looks like it could be letters, numbers, just random shapes. If you were to put it to trying to link it to anything, you would assume an ancient kind of writing, hieroglyphs in a way, where they use kind of a mixture of picture and sometimes lettering, but nothing seems to be comprehensible. You don't know what any of it means, but you know that it is there. Do you have anything in Cthulhu Mythos?
No.
Okay.
I do not.
Cool. So you're at 1, or you're at 0.
Yeah.
Do me a favor, roll a D percentile and tell me what you get.
64.
Okay. So I would like you to add 5 to Cthulhu Mythos and then take 2 more points of sanity damage.
Cool.
So yes, this process is very cathartic for you and you do feel slightly better, but again, that uneasy that queasy feeling that you have kind of subsides as you stop writing and drawing all these symbols. Again, you don't really know what any of it means, but just getting it out and onto something you could physically see, it's reassuring in a way. So that takes roughly, I want to say, a couple hours in the morning, just to kind of work through that. And then you can get ready for your day, however you wish.
I checked my appointment book to see if I have any appointment for today, because it's still been busy, but I've been taking kind of more off personal days for myself.
Yeah.
Just so that I'm not giving the worst psychoanalysis as I'm trying to psychoanalyze myself. And I see that I have a few, so I do get ready to kind of go and still take care of my patients outside of the crazy bloody-bodied ones.
Well, you do have 3 listed for morning sessions, and then you have 2 listed for afternoon. The 2 in the afternoon are in the hospital, and 3 are your own private clients, with the last one of the day being Samantha, which I think is the name we chose. I don't remember exactly. Who was the focal point of your nightmare from last night. It's always the worst part about nightmares. They turn what seems to be a really good dream into a bad dream almost instantly. That's what's worse. But all of your clients are pretty throughout the day. I'm just going to fast forward through this. Give me... What do I want you to roll for this? Do another psychology, just a generalized psychology roll.
And I'm dirty, so we are set.
Cool. All right. So, what'd you say you rolled? Sorry.
A 5.
Okay. Nice. All right. So, yes. Day goes by swimmingly, it's these are just routine checkups, these are your easier patients. You haven't had a tough patient since John Henry, essentially. They were one of your most challenging, I would say, to put it nicely. They were one of your most challenging because they were on the mend and then, everything. So all your patients, just checkups. And, they talk about their day-to-day lives. Everyone's still kind of quarantined. Not everything's opened yet, but things are starting to open. So you have people talking about like their day-to-day lives. They're saying about if they went out, if they got a new job. One guy got a new job, but he's still working from home. So so the two of you are trying to figure out together ways to like get him out of his house, just to kind of make sure he's feeling better at the end of the day, and more in control of his own spirit, his own actions. And it's a lot of uplifting stuff like that, I have a quick question. During the fight on the rooftop, you took will damage, correct?
Yes.
Okay. Do you have that old number written down or no?
To look for it. If it is not here, it will be in here. Stand by. Sanity, luck, power. Nope, I do not have the will.
That's fine. What is your will score right now?
Power currently is 43.
Okay. Because of everything that kind of happened, you've been having great success over the last few months, with all your patients, and it's also kind of helped you in a way to kind of work through everything. I would like you to increase your power by 5, okay?
Okay.
So that expands your total sanity pool as well, so you can recover up to 5 more sanity, but you did take sanity damage, and that doesn't heal just yet. This is just long-term stuff.
Okay, cool.
That's how it goes. And, so your morning goes well. You take a nice break for lunch. Your afternoon appointments aren't until like 2:30, and then Samantha at around like 5 o'clock. So you have plenty of time to just like go throughout your day, do things for you. So what do you do during your off time? You said you try to not keep so busy, but you do have to work. So what do you kind of do when you're not actively helping someone?
If it's during a work day and I have like time in between, my sister doesn't live terribly far from my workspace. So I kind of just check in with her for like a quick lunch or just like a coffee date, just to kind of like hear about all of her issues and what's going on in her life, to distract me from everything that's happening on my end.
Gotcha.
Because she likes to talk a lot.
Yeah. Well, lucky for you. I mean, like, everything seems to be going well for Danica. She has been... Oh, I called your friend Calvin Harris before. It's Calvin Hobbs. I forgot that. Yeah.
Calvin Hobbs, yeah.
Calvin Hobbs. Sorry.
Calvin Hobbs, formerly known as Calvin Harris.
Yeah. Sorry about that. Anyway, back to
he got married. He changed his last name.
There you go. See, like, he took the better last name.
Yeah.
That's how it should go. You just take the better of the two.
Take the better one.
So, Danica it has been for like the last year. Like, throughout everything has been pretty like upbeat. And, like, things are going great for them. Like, being switched to working from home has never really impacted them in any capacity. In fact, it's actually better for her because she doesn't have to, like, really... it's safer. It's safer. And, it's like... And it allows her a little bit more freedom to check on the rest of your family whenever she needs to. And today when you call her, she seems distant. You spoke to her like yesterday or the day before, and she seemed absolutely fine. It was like perfect. But then it's like you met up with her in person, and it feels like it feels like she's having trouble focusing on you. So it's like you have to kind of like repeat yourself a couple times while speaking to her. But regardless, I mean, she's aware of your presence, though. It's not like she's not, And so like together, you do have a nice like lunch, get together, coffee, whatever it is. But it's this like weird like gazing out into past you, sometimes. So she's not really focused on you specifically. So it can get kind of weird in the conversation. But
it bothers me, but I don't address it directly because I know she hates when I start to psychoanalyze her. And like my choice of word can come across as like, so what's going on behind that head of yours?
Yeah.
And she's mentioned it quite a bit in our previous conversations to like be there as like a sister and not be there as someone who's like, yeah. So I kind of like, I take a mental note of it, but I don't like, I just kind of let the conversation just like roll as it's going.
Yeah. And like I said, it's still a pleasant time. You know, she it's not like her responses changed in any capacity. Like she still responds like her normal self, kind of like upbeat and still very positive about things. And even when she talks about the like things aren't so positive or great in her life, you know, she is like, she still does it with like an air of everything's fine. But it's just that like every so often, like when she's not talking and you're talking, she just kind of like that military 1,000-yard stare, you know? So yeah, post coffee get together or whatever with Danica, it's your afternoon blocks. And these hospital patients can be a little bit rougher. You know, sometimes it's dealing with trauma in a way that's hard for a lot of people to process easily. Your first patient, Robert, has cancer, unfortunately. He has to stay in the hospital in order to undergo treatments. So it's like every other week, you have an in-person meeting with him because he's there getting his treatments and everything. You walk into the room, his room, you know, mask on, gloves, whatever it is. You know, he's sitting in his bed, sitting up, just kind of like looking out the window.
Hey Robert, how are you feeling today?
Oh, Dr. Warber, you know, as great as I can be, just finished treatment for today, so just a little tired. Sorry.
How you been lately?
Yeah, it's I mean, you know, it's cancer. You know, it is what it is. You know, my parents are the one that are, you know, I told you before, they're the ones that are pushing for everything to go well. You know, but I don't know. I don't know anymore. It seems futile now. Which I mean, I know I shouldn't think about it like that, but I can't help it.
It's okay to feel that way. I know that oftentimes, you know, especially between our talks, we talk about trying to hold on to something, especially something with hope. But I don't want you to not acknowledge your negative thoughts as well, because they are very real to you and they are existing. So it's okay to feel not okay at times, especially, you know, through this whole process that you're going through.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I know it's okay to not be okay. But you know, like it feels like some days I feel like it would just be fine, you know, if it just progressed further, because you know these treatments are, I mean, they're just stalling the inevitable, right? I don't want to have to be doing this forever, you know. That's the only reason why I think it's futile. That's really it.
Well, what have you been doing as far as achieving the list that we wrote? I know I told you to write a list of things that you wanted to get done by a certain time.
I mean, yeah, that's true. Well, I mean, I don't have it here. I can show you a picture next time I see you. I did finally finish that painting, you know, that I talked about. Now it was a picture of my childhood summer home, you know, upstate, the view over the lake. I'm happy with how it turned out, you know. You know, considering it was all from memory, I think it's beautiful, you know. So I did that. You know, I reached out to some old friends that I kind of drifted away from, and just talked. Nothing like how we used to, but we caught up, and I think that's everything recent. Yeah. Oh, I mean, I started reading. What was the book I wrote down? I wrote down a book on the list, and then, well, I didn't start reading it, but I got the book anyway, so I can start.
It's no worries. This is not a summer reading requirement.
Yeah. Danielle, for the record, Robert is in his late teens. So he's like 18, almost 19. So, a lot of your patients, most of them are more or a little older. You have patients in your 20s and early 30s. And like here and there, you may have like a little older of a patient. And a couple other things about Robert. Robert does not have legs below the knees. It was essentially what had happened to him, and this is stuff that you learned in the past, was he had gotten into a car accident, say like 3, maybe 4 years ago, when he was just first learning to drive. And unfortunately, he had to lose his legs below the knees, got crushed, and apparently he had a bad reaction to a drug that was used during the surgery, and that's what kind of kick-started what's currently going on with him now. But he's, like I said, he's one of the more like stable of your patients, just a bit more on the depressing side. Give me one more psychology check for right now.
Ooh, I think that one might have failed. It did.
What'd you get?
I rolled a 35 and my psychology is 30.
Ooh, close. All right. So it's successful to a degree. You're meeting with him. Continues to have that kind of like melancholic kind of look to him the entire time, just kind of like staring out the window. And it's not that he has continuously been responsive and answers any questions you have, talks to you, like the both of you have like a good conversation with each other. But it's just like, you can tell that like what's going on today isn't something that can just be kind of like talked about. So at the end of your like hour with him, it's apparent that, the next time you see him, you'll just have to like try to amp your game up, whatever it is, just to see him through. Do you say anything as you go to leave at the end of your hour? Is there anything in particular, any bits of wisdom you would like to leave this boy with?
I just tell him, I know we have our set times and visits, but anytime you just want a friend to talk to, I'm always here.
He smiles and nods. Luckily, with everything that's wrong with him, all his treatments, he hasn't actually lost a lot of his hair. It is just cut short. And, his pale white skin kind of just reflects off the sunlight that's coming in through the window. But it's a genuine smile. He appreciates the efforts that you go through. And now you just have one more patient to meet with today. Samantha.
And now Samantha is someone I saw in my dreams, but not in person yet, right? Or I've seen her.
No, you did. So you met with her just once. This must have been about a month ago. Or maybe not even a month ago. It was like she had been admitted to the hospital in the pandemic ward. And unfortunately, that means that you have to get geared up and everything to go in there. But you were told that she would, from, I guess, the doctors on staff, clinical analysis, they realized that you would need to come in and actually speak with her. So you just like introduced yourself the last time you were here. And then you set like the time that you would come see them and everything. So you do know her vaguely. So Danielle, you make your way to speak with Samantha in the pandemic ward. You've gotten your whole situation all together. You're just about to open the door. Take a breath, because again, the last, in your dream, another thing that kind of clued you in, it was just a dream, was the fact that you weren't wearing anything like what you're currently in, like the almost like spacesuit kind of like hazmat gear while going in there. You just had a mask on, your regular hospital mask. So you open the door and step in. And as you walk in, the bed in this room is kind of off, bit past like where the bathroom is. So it's kind of like a small corridor. So you can't actively see the bed from the doorway. So you step in and turn to see Samantha. And can you roll me I need 2 rolls yet again. I need a power and sanity. Actually, no. Just give me a sanity check.
Give you sanity?
Yep. Give me a sanity check.
I did roll under. I rolled 7, and my sanity is currently at 37.
Nice. All right, that's good. All right, for a brief second, the image that was ingrained into your mind last night flashes before your eyes as you look to the bed, because Samantha is kind of sitting in the same kind of position in the bed that she was in your dream. You know, she kind of just like propped up with her back up and her hands in front of her. Although this time she is perfectly fine, as she's wearing her own mask. She's got the hospital gown. She's got everything kind of like set up. You know, she's hooked up to like a couple IVs and a monitor, and that's pretty much it. But no blood on the walls, no scars on the body, no cuts, no butts, no coconuts, my friend. She is fine.
I approach her and reintroduce myself. Hi, Samantha. I'm Daniel Warber. We have met before. I've read over your case, and if you don't mind, I would like to run a quick test by you. Don't worry, it's not a medical test. We will not hook you up to anything that you do not need to be hooked up to. You're perfectly fine the way you are. It's just going to be a quick visual test. You're familiar with inkblot tests, are you not?
Yes. Yes, I am. So for context, Samantha is in her early 20s, I want to say. And the reason why she was kind of flagged for you and for the hospital was because she, like, apart from getting sick, she claimed that she had vision similar to that of John Henry. So that was why they kind of called you in.
Cool. Sweet. So I'm just going to show you a couple of images, and all you need to do is just tell me what you see.
Okay. That's fine.
So she has like a collection of like 5 different cards, and the first 2 are like, you know, your generic ink blot.
I am going to do
test.
a random ink blot test on Google. See,
That's exactly what I did.
Perfect.
Because I forgot the name of it. I was like, Rorschach face thing.
Okay, random ink blot test. Okay. So, I will just start describing stuff, and then you tell me when you go to the next image. All right?
What I'll do is share my screen with images, if that's easy.
Oh, yeah, you do that too. Okay, yeah, we'll do that. All right, yeah. If you can share your screen, that'll help.
Awesome. Pick some random ones. Share your screen. Here we go.
All right, perfect.
All right. This one right here.
Alrighty. Okay, what do I see? I see... Well, it kind of looks like a little mouth at the bottom, which kind of makes it look kind of like a bunny rabbit from like a forward... Like the face of a bunny, from like the forward face, you know, when you're looking straight on at it, especially with like the teeth and everything.
Would you say it's a friendly rabbit, or would you say it's an aggressive rabbit?
It doesn't look very friendly, you know, looking at it. It's kind of just, you know, it's got this, I think what makes it not friendly in a way is just the way that the ears are kind of looking up top. You know, they're kind of just sharpened and everything. Yeah.
Very good. Tell me what you see with this one.
Okay, so did you ever see the old Disney movie Dumbo? Because I see the ringmaster mouse in the center there, and then there's one ink blot on the left that kind of looks like an elephant, and then some of the other ink blots kind of look like birds. So those could be those crows. Yeah, that's what that kind of looks like. And then like the mouse kind of ends right at the right at where the 2 semicircular lines are kind of meeting at him, I guess. And then it's just like a mirror image on the bottom, so maybe he's standing atop a barrel, you know? Yeah, that's what that looks like.
Now tell me, what do you see with this? And I show her one of the images of the sketches that I made earlier in the morning, like one of the symbols.
Okay, do me a favor, roll a spot hidden and a psychoanalysis. 2 separate rolls.
So far, I have my spot hidden. Ooh, just under. Nice. Rolled a 23, and my spot hidden is 25.
Nice.
And then I will roll for, you said psychoanalysis?
Yes.
I am over by 3.
Okay. So, spot hidden. The result of this is you asked her this question, and she was staring pretty intently at the ink blots, like trying to really find pictures in them. And then when you show her like your drawings from this morning of the shapes and everything that you saw in your dream, you see as she gets a little fidgety, and she starts to just like scratch the back of her hand a little. With the failed psychoanalysis roll, it's kind of hard to kind of like peg it as just like an adverse reaction to just a different kind of drawing. It's like you kind of like you put yourself in a mindset with an ink blot to look for something. What do the shapes mean? What do they kind of fit together to be? Kind of like a puzzle without, edges. But you've drawn hard defined images in a way. So it's like, this is a defined edge. This is supposed to be something. This shape is supposed to be here. So when she's looking at it, she's like, I mean, they feel familiar. I don't really know. They kind of look like hieroglyphs, from like Egypt and everything. That's kind of it. I don't know. It doesn't seem that. I don't know. I feel weird looking at it though.
It's fine. These are more just to get a general feeling versus the imagery that you are seeing, and that is perfectly okay.
So for clarification, did you show her everything, or just like the markings that you remember kind of on her body?
Showed her. Let's say I showed her everything.
Okay, so including the spirograph kind of.
Yeah.
One. So you had that on a different page. So when you kind of flip to that page too, you can definitely see like an adverse reaction on her. Like it looks like she is definitely very uncomfortable looking at this, and she goes, "I don't like looking at that one. It's and she like actively turns her head away from you and this image, shuts her eyes, and, you can see that she's holding them tightly. I don't know what that is, but I mean, I think I've seen it before. I don't like it. It's something, I don't know where I've seen it before, but I really don't like it."
She crumbles it up and kind of like sticks it in her pocket, and he's like, out of sight, out of mind.
She turns back to face you.
Well, Samantha, those are all the images that I have, but we still have some time if you would like to discuss anything.
Okay, so propose to me a few topics that you would approach your patients during this time.
Just how they've been handling things as far as like just with the pandemic alone. Just like a general feeling of how they've been dealing with that, and if they've been able to be around family and friends depending on their like living situation. And I know she's in the hospital, but I don't know if anyone has come to visit her.
Yes, she does talk to you about all this. She lets you know that she was the first person in her house, her family, to get COVID, and it hit her bad. It hit her like a truck, For the first few days, she couldn't stop talking. Like, this is really the first day that she has been able to kind of like be okay and like actually talk. Like she's throughout the time you've been sitting there, she's coughed like a little bit, but not like
yeah.
This is like
I'm like,
yeah.
This hazmat suit's not gonna.
Yeah. It's just like a small cough every now and then. It's just to kind of like clear the throat. But she tells you about it. She tells you that this entire time she's just been going to school online. So it's been, it's been tough not being with her friends at school, but easy enough to get by at home and then Zoom chat or whatever. Again, she tells you about like things that she would like to do once this is all over, things that she did before, and it's a pleasant sort of meeting.
I also kind of address because the reason I'm saying her is because she's basically kind of like was a similar patient to John Henry, right? Like she'd been saying, like kind of saying the same things that he's been saying and whatnot. So I kind of asked her when that started.
Okay, so give me your approach in character.
So Samantha, it's good that you've been keeping up with a semi-normal routine considering the times that we're living in, and that's good to have consistency in your life. I have noticed in your report that you were starting to see interesting characters as of late. Do you mind describing them to me?
Yeah. It's weird, thinking about trying to remember what they look like gives me the same kind of feeling as when I looked at those letters and everything before. Tall. I mean, I hope it's just someone just standing in a shadow or something, but like I can never get like full features of them. No one else really seems to notice them, and they seem like far at the end of my vision, I guess. Either at the like if we think about like city blocks or something, like maybe like 3 city blocks away, but I feel like they're looking at me specifically. And then every once in a while I'll notice one like maybe across the street, something, and it's I can't really get any features off of them. Even when it's bright and sunny out, it seems like they're just covered in like shadow, like they're always under like a tree or something, or in like an alleyway.
When this started happening, and how often have you been seeing them?
I want to say it was a few months into the quarantine. It originally started like I went on walks just to kind of clear my head, and then I would say like a few months into quarantine, and then it was kind of just like I saw them once, and then it was like another few months until I saw another one, but then they got like I started seeing them more often, and then definitely right before I got really sick, I think I saw a lot of them.
Besides them being around and causing a sense of dread, which is what it seems to be, have they made any movement toward you, or do they seem to just stay in place?
No, I don't remember them ever moving closer to me. Ever since they started showing up more and more, though. I mean, I haven't seen them since I've been in here, but ever since they started showing up, I've had weird dreams. And it's I don't know how to describe it other than I think I can also see them in my dreams, and it's kind of like even in my dreams, if I'm like walking down the sidewalk or something, it's like they're following me but closer. It feels like, I don't know, it's weird. I know it sounds weird, which is why you're probably here. But yeah, that's I don't know. Although she kind of like holds her eyes closed again, and you kind of see, from what little facial expressions you can kind of get through the mask and everything, it looks like she's straining herself, and she starts to scratch her the back of her hand again. The last dream I remember, one of them got close to me, and I could make out kind of a face, I guess. And I guess like the reason why I didn't like looking at that other thing you showed is because it kind of looked like the eyes of this thing in a way, as it kind of like leered down at me. It's...
When you started seeing these, was there anything happening in your life that had caused you any stress, or was it just kind of like a normal day-to-day kind of situation?
I mean, isn't everyone stressed this past year?
I mean, yes, very true.
Yeah, I mean, I can't imagine anything more so than anyone else.
Okay. I noticed that you keep scratching the back of your hand here and there. Has that been happening a lot lately?
Yeah, that's kind of more recent. I've gotten weirdly itchier since that last dream where I saw the thing. You know, just it kind of feels like when bugs are just crawling all over you. You know, you just kind of feel like you're not like clean, I guess is the word.
Danielle kind of takes a mental note to just, like, she writes all this stuff down, but she definitely wants to kind of compare, like, her notes in Samantha's file to her previous patient's file as well.
Mm-hmm.
Try to see if she can find any similarities outside of what they've been claiming to see. Just in general, like just any similarities to kind of figure out why these figures have been like kind of following them too. Because she's seen them now too. And just kind of like trying to make it make sense in some sort of way. Samantha, if you don't mind, if I can see you a little bit more frequently than our scheduled time here, I would like to just check up on you and see how these visions are either progressing or digressing within this week.
Yeah, okay. That sounds fine. I mean, I'm here. I can't leave until they let, at least for another week, you know? I mean, I'm in better shape than most people that come here, you know? But again, it's like today was kind of the first day where I wasn't like coughing up a lung, as they like saying.
Yeah, you'll most likely see me, if not tomorrow, the day after tomorrow. But I don't think what you've been seeing is just figuring out how to phrase it without making it sound like you're not crazy, but also like don't freak out because these might be real.
Not crazy.
Yeah, you're not crazy, but crazy shit's happening. Yeah. I give her a very generic, like, it's gonna be okay. We'll figure this thing out together.
Gotcha. Yeah,
and then kind of like schedule her for,
Yeah. So Samantha says okay, and is happy to whatever your recommended schedule. I mean, you work here in the hospital, so as long as they know, that should be fine. Yeah, and your prescribed time with Samantha is coming to a close.
Yeah, with that, she just tells her to kind of hang on in there, and that she'll schedule her and she'll follow up shortly.
Got it. As you're leaving, can you give me one more spot hidden check?
I already know it's over. I just don't know how. It's probably over by a lot. I rolled a 74, and I think my spot hidden was 25. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Everything seems fine. Everything's good. She seems very well. No, she does look very thankful for your help. It looks like just talking to someone different kind of made her day a little easier. And you excuse yourself, and so ends your patient list for the day. Now, tell me. So you have some hours until you go back to sleep. What was your evening like? We don't have to like act it out or anything, but
yeah.
What would she do?
Because of how her day went, she would kind of like start looking into two things. So she would start trying to compare the files between Samantha and the recently deceased. And just trying to see
like 5 months ago.
yeah. It's still recent. It's still within the year. Previously deceased, I guess. Patient of hers and trying to see like any inkling of a link between the two.
Okay. So why don't we do this? You're going to give me a few rolls here. You're going to give me a spot hidden. You're going to give me a maybe one more psychology roll, and also and for fun, an electronics roll.
For spot hidden, I rolled an 81.
Okay, fine.
So that is a no. For psychology, a 54, so that also fails.
Okay.
And then you said electronics, right? Ooh. So bad. Oh, man. I rolled a 98.
We're bound to get the bad numbers eventually.
Yep. All comes rushing in at the end.
Yep. Always be wary when I ask you to roll things. All right. So.
With the damage.
All right. Well, your damage is thusly. This is what you kind of glean from reviewing the notes between the two. All right. You started seeing John Henry early into quarantine. And, his lifestyle seemed to have been a lot less social than Samantha's. So there is a little bit of a difference there. So he was a little bit more reclusive and just kind of stayed on his own. And the fact that, when his job didn't lay him off was the term, a special term for
furlough?
Yeah, furlough. Like his job furloughed him for a time, so it was, he was just living on unemployment while he was by himself, and it was rough, so that's why he started talking to you. And it seemed to him like it was, in his case, it seemed like it was like right out the gate. He saw this. He started seeing things, And at that time, you told him it was just like, it was monsters that he was kind of just projecting on the outside world because he hadn't really, because of everything that was in his past, his trauma and everything from before the quarantine, it kind of shook him in a different direction. But you get the fact that, just judging by what Samantha had told you, it seems like she was also around the same time that John Henry saw his monsters that she started seeing hers, But like I said, parallels between the two, maybe her social life kind of helped in a degree to lessen the activity of the shadows as you remember them. And it seemed like they just took a watchful role instead. What kind of files did you have saved on John Henry?
Just previous medical records that were allowed to be released to me. Mm-hmm. Along with just his because I was seeing him before all that kind of stuff happened. Mm-hmm. So it's also kind of just that history of notes, and then kind of the change when he was starting to kind of see all the stuff. And whatever I picked up from the hospital during the time I was gone. Because he did leave me a string of those messages, and then was after what happened to him was admitted to the hospital.
So do you have pictures or anything from when he...
Yeah.
Okay.
As far as how they found him.
Yeah.
Not while he was at the hospital, but just how they found him.
Yeah, when they found him. Okay, that's good. So you go to open the files of when they found him because you're like, oh, let me check the correlation between these images I saw in my dream last night and also when they found him. And you go to open those files and the image is corrupted and can't be opened. That was the electronics roll.
And I curse at the sky and at new age technology.
Yeah.
Damn it, Rebecca telling me to upgrade my computer. I knew I shouldn't have.
Or maybe you didn't upgrade it like Rebecca had said to upgrade it. Regardless.
I don't trust my secretary that much.
Okay, fair. Regardless, that is all the information you kind of get from the two of them.
Okay. I'm starting to collect I'm starting to make a separate file regarding the events around these. I kind of label it as quote unquote Dementors. I don't know what else to call them, but it's cool. The closest thing that she can relate to.
Yeah.
So she just kind of Dementor file.
Right. You add to your Dementor file.
Yeah. So that's what, and she has because of her whole electronic incident that just happened, she's I'm going to keep a physical file. So she kind of writes everything, puts it in one of those tab envelope thingies. Yeah. And then the second thing that she does is she sends a message to Calvin and asks him if he knows anybody, because he knows a lot of like educators because he works with a lot of kids and whatnot at different ages, and she asks him if he knows anybody within the like historic Egyptian department in the college that he kind of like works hand in hand with.
Okay, yeah. You get a message back from Calvin with the name of a new professor of ancient history. Excuse me while I randomly generate a name.
You're like legitimately looking for a professor in ancient history.
Yeah, well, I mean, so it was like specifying like ancient history, like, you know, like they go on, Calvin goes on to say like, you know, they have backgrounds in Egyptology, you know, they've studied religions of like the Middle East, you know, like Middle Eastern culture specifically. And it is Dr. Kiri Metcalfe. So KIRIMETCALFE. Calvin goes on to say like, she's not really transfer, but, you know, I think she was hired from, you know, I think she actually had like an anthropology degree in London, so she is from the UK, and he gives you email address and phone number for her, and lets you know that most of the time she'll respond within a day with emails, and then phone calls, Calvin says that she doesn't respond after 6 o'clock on weeknights, which is essentially past this moment. Yes. Thank you, Tafy. You're
welcome.
Exactly. My image in my head was Evie from The Mummy. Thank you.
I was like, so this is Evie, right?
Yes. I had her already decided as a character, but I did not pick a name. Thank you.
I was like, this is her. Perfect. Excellent.
Yeah, so Calvin tells you all this. And it is like after everything, it's around like 9 o'clock at night for you.
Before she kind of does her whole like night routine before she goes to bed, because she likes to go to bed by like 10 o'clock just because she has really early appointments and she likes to be well rested. She kind of sends out this email to make an appointment with her to go over some hieroglyphs that she may find interesting, and to see if she can either decode them or know what their origin is. She doesn't send her the images, but she just kind of like writes that she has them and would like to come in person and show them to her and pick her mind.
Cool. All right, cool. Sent the email and start to get ready for bed. Your nightly routine is just getting washed up and everything changed. All right. Is there any special thing that you do right before going to bed, or?
No, she doesn't really do anything special.
Okay. Do you keep your journal on your nightstand, or is it?
It's a nightstand, but there's a small little drawer.
Okay.
That's in the nightstand, so she puts it in the drawer.
Gotcha. Okay. All right. And you go to sleep. It's some time after you've fallen asleep. You know, you don't know really how long, but what wakes you is the sound of movement nearby. The fact that the air kind of seems, well, it's a lot breezier than it was before, and the air smells damp. Not to mention, it doesn't feel soft like the bed that you're used to sleeping on. And you kind of stir awake, and you slowly open your eyes and you're looking around as you sit yourself up, and your book is on the floor next to you, but you're on like a stone floor in what seems to be a room full of pipes and everything, and very little light. And there around you are 4 other shapes, 2 of which are already starting to stand. And that's where we're gonna end. Oh, wait, no. Wait. There's one more thing.
But wait, there's more.
Oh, wait, there's more. As you start yourself getting up, you hear a scream pierce the air. And I think that's where we're going to end it for tonight. But until we meet next, just remember, the Sandman comes for the restless and weary.